Come here, come and say hello. Yes, guys, welcome back to the More Bodybuilding podcast. Coming to join me. Chloe wanted to say hello as well. Hello. So, on the agenda today is, first of all, me and Ben Smith are going to talk about some struggles that he's been having recently with being being natural and coming out of that prep and some of the difficulties you face, I think, as a natural competitor dealing with the post-show phase. And then we're going to touch on other Ben's prep, or the start of his prep and how things are going so far. We're only like a week deep. But to be fair, there's some significant changes already, hasn't there? Or there have been some significant changes.
Yeah, it's been all right.
It's moved quite quickly. But to be honest, I didn't expect anything less. I knew, because of how you've been operating, because of where your body's at, I knew any kind of change, there'd be a very sharp initial response. I think you're going to be very, very reactive, which is a great thing.
Yeah, it's just about staying on top of what I've noticed so far is staying on top of this fatigue. I know that's a buzzword, but it's definitely this week caught me. So we'll chat about that.
Another point that I wanted to touch on this podcast as well was a conversation that I had with AJ on the podcast. Me and Chloe did, which was, and I just found it really interesting, and I just want to get into it a bit more, which was about people's natural, genetic limit for exposing themselves to a certain amount of stress, like physically. You know how we talk about there's localized fatigue and then central nervous system fatigue, right? And he was saying that some people's genetic capacity to deal with more central nervous system fatigue is what allows them to do what the likes of Ronnie used to do. And so they can put the muscle under an extreme amount of tension and load and just damage and like stimulate it to a certain point where their body, their CNS is just capable of like working through that. That's not the limiting factor for them. It's the limiting, they're far less limited by their central nervous system than they are other people. And this is why I think as big bodybuilders get bigger, typically they'll start doing... Did you watch AJ post the other day about Nick Walker and what he used to do to be as big as he is now?
All the old training footage.
Very different.
Yeah.
So I thought that was brilliant because I think he posted that off the back of the podcast conversation because it was like everybody's looking at Nick Walker and how he trains now, but Nick trains now how he needs to for him now. How he got to where he is now is a product of training like this. And he'd scrolled down Nick Walker's Instagram and he started resharing loads of his training footage from years ago. And mate, he's like shifting stupid weight, like throwing it around. I mean, not really bad form, but he was aggressive with it. Do you know what I mean? Shifting weight, bent over T-bar rows, an incline bench press. And he was saying that all this focus on like the smart training, it's more specific to Nick now because he's sort of reached a point where his ceiling for what he can do in terms of that stuff it's limited. It's got him so far and it's obviously built the physique that he's got, but now he has to be a bit more intelligent around his training. And I think this is why a lot of people hit a certain wall or a wall is because their genetic limit for what they can manage systemically is a lot lower than other people's, and they don't learn to then train more intelligently and deviate to accommodate for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it's interesting. There's so many variables with everything. It's like even with drug response and how much you can handle, there's a variable in that in every individual. Like some of the best guys that take a lot of gear, that it doesn't even affect their health markers that bad. So they can get away with it and then they can push harder. But then you've got people that touch a little bit and it just ruins them.
It's sort of the crap part.
For me, sorry, go on, man.
I was going to say, it's just sort of the crap part of bodybuilding that you can't control at all. And just like genetics will like dictate everything, like to a certain extent, like they really will. And that'll link into our conversation, Max, but your sort of post-prep recovery will, like, regardless of how well you plan it and how sort of meticulous you are and intelligent you are, you know, you still might not be recovered hormonally. And that might just be down to sort of genetics and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think what you're saying about the training as well, it rings true.
Well, what do you think though that there is a, because I do think there's an element of like adaptation that comes with that though. I do think you can, like, right, as an example, you definitely played rugby when you were younger. I can't remember if you I don't know if you played at like a decent level, Ben, but like it's kind of like when you go and play rugby, or like you do a training session for rugby, right? The next day you're fucked, and then you'll play on the or you'll do training on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then you'll go and play on a Saturday or a Sunday, and then like your body is just in absolute pieces, and it's not the running around, it's just everything. It's the contact, it's the obviously the physical exertion as well. But then over time, you kind of adjust to that level of stress, right? But then I noticed that there were some people who just couldn't. Like when I started getting into training more regularly and I was playing more regularly, I'd probably like be sore for a day or two after a game. Whereas I know some people who would play one weekend and couldn't play the next because they quite literally never got the ability to be able to recover and adapt enough between those sessions or those trainings or those games. And I think it's the same with bodybuilding. I think there's an element of like adaptation to those stimuluses and that exposure of those weights or that training style. But for some people, they can't adapt quick enough for them to be able to continually do it long enough to then see the kind of results that you see a lot of people do that do train like that. Like watching AJ train, how he trains. Like he does train like a fucking monster. Some of the weights he lifts and some of the lifts he does are extremely impressive for his weight, size, musculature. But he obviously has some kind of adaptation to be able to deal with that. Like, have you seen him on the hack? Like, he's done like 6-plate hacks.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There's definitely there's definitely
I noticed with
adaptation because.
Sorry, Ben, go on.
You go on, mate. Go on.
I was gonna say I noticed with a lot of like the top level natural guys, they're doing so much volume. AJ will post like an upper or a lower session, and it's like 20 to 24 sets. And like, I think that's the danger with sort of social media and comparing your training to other people. Most people are like, if you're doing really good quality work, like 20 to 24 sets a session, that's like 3 hours of work, and that's gonna just not going to be able to recover for most people. Right, so, but then Adam Powell, right on the other end of the spectrum, he'll do like a 10-set session. So it's like there is so much genetic variability in what you will be able to sort of handle, and you need to figure that out yourself and not sort of seek the permission or the validation of, well, XYZ person is doing this, so you need to do that as well. It's sort of figuring it out for yourself.
I think intuition is like a dead skill in bodybuilding at the moment. I think
it's an underrated skill.
Yeah, I don't think people flex that muscle anymore. I feel, and again, touch on that in the conversation with AJ. It's like the only way you're going to know is by trying, and the only way you're going to know, and the only way you're going to be able to work out whether what you found out is good or not is having a level of critical thinking and self-awareness to make the decisions for yourself. Intuitively, does this feel good? Should I be doing this much volume? No, probably not. I got halfway through the session and then everything else that felt like shit, and I feel like shit for 4 days after that session. Should I do all that volume? Probably not. But a lot of people don't think like that. They'll go, oh, well, AJ does next session. So nothing changes. And that's how they think. Like, that's literally, they'll go, oh, Max does only 5 sets on his quads every week, so that means I can. I'm like, no. I've done 15 sets on my quads. I've done 3 sets on my quads. I've done 20 sets on my quads. Like I've done that over a decade to find out that between 4 and 7 is where I'm good, depending on where recovery is at, depending on where my weight is at, depending on how much gear I'm taking.
It's difficult it is difficult to juggle. It's difficult to really know, though, isn't it? Because especially in bodybuilding, you always feel like you could be doing more, or you see like there's someone doing more. So it's like, can I be pushing harder here? Can I be doing more? And then it's being objective with that. Is this ruining me or not? And especially with socials, because you see people doing more, and you're like, are they working harder than me? So can I work harder? But then it's like,
that's such a good point, man. Such a good point, because like with like AJ's demographic, like they are the type of people that will be saying, I'm not working hard enough, and that's where you fall into the trap of trying to match that volume that you're seeing done.
Exactly that.
And just battering yourself into the floor. Yeah.
I've got something that I think will tie in very nicely to what's just been said there as well, which is that intelligent training thing. And the problem that we have with everything that we're saying here is that everybody assumes to know that their standard of training and their intensity within training is all the same, but it's not. And then the second thing is what you said there about like total volume. Well, it's not even about volume, isn't it? Is it? Because like you could do double the amount of volume as someone else, but that might reflect exactly the same if you're training how you've been training your quads at the moment, Ben, which is that 15, 15, 15, which I've been doing, and I think is absolutely fucking awesome, because the way to measure progress on those fixed weight straight sets is perfect. It's so hard to fuck up measuring whether or not you're progressing or not. And the amount that I think the amount you can stimulate your quads in relation to a top set back off, I think is considerably more, because I think the scale for doing more, like you think, let's obviously out the back of this prep. So basically, anyone that's watching, Ben is doing these. It's my invention. It's like a new training style. It's like,
what did you call it?
I'm interested to hear this. 15, 15, 15.
What did you call it? You called it something, didn't you, on that voice?
I don't know. You'll have to find out. But I've labelled it as fixed weight straight sets. So basically, what we did is we pick a weight that you can do a set of 15 for around 3 sets. But the idea is to obviously progress either the weight or the volume over time. Now, I think we could. I'm tempted on some of these exercises to get him to do 4. But the idea is let's say he does the stack on a machine, and that's kind of another point. Is let's say you can't progress the weight because you're already stacking a leg extension. So he stacks the leg extension, and he does 15 reps. But he could probably do like 19, 20. He gets to 15. The next set, he does 15 on the stack again. This time he probably gets he gets 15, but he probably could have done like 16, 17. The following set, he goes to 15 again, and he either just makes 15, so he fails on his last set, or maybe he's just under 15. And so at that point, he's done 15, 15, 14. He's failed on his last set, but he's still done 2 very stimulating sets prior to that. Now, the damage, I think, like the overall like systemic fatigue from those sets is far less than 2 sets, 1 lower rep range and 1 higher rep range to absolute failure with way more load on, right? So around the same stimulus, but far more localized fatigue, far less systemic fatigue. And then over time, he does 15, 15, 15 with the stack. Then he puts in another set and he does 10, let's say. So he does 15, 15, just makes 15 on the third, and then he gets maybe, let's say, 11 on the fourth set. And that's how you progress or obviously you up the load. And eventually he wants to be doing like 15, 15, 15, 15. So 4 sets of 15, and ups the load, and he's doing like 15, 15, I don't know, 14, 10. And again, over time. And the thing is like, again, I just think that localized, and the localized fatigue is much higher. The systemic fatigue is lower, but the stimulus is the same, or maybe even more, because systemically is not so fucked in the session. And when you look at like a lot of the training styles of the Americans, whilst I know their form isn't the best, it's still the same premise, right? It's like an insane amount of volume. Where, Ben, I don't know if you watch like a lot of the wellness girls, but they talk about doing like legs 4 times a week, and they're doing like 5 sets on every exercise.
Yeah,
when you watch them train, a lot of the sets aren't actually to failure. Like they're going, because they're doing 50
you can tell,
rep
can't
sets.
you?
Yeah, but like it hurts, but they stop because it hurts, not because they've stopped mechanically. And I think that they're kind of like inadvertently doing this method that I've been getting him to do. And I'm far less injury prone. Like I'm not getting injured as much. I feel a lot fresher. I feel like I'm able to put more volume across the week on my quads, because I've started doing quads on my push day. And it's like, and I'm progressing as well. Like my lifts are improving. I'm doing more volume. I feel good.
It's been awesome for me. Like it's so much. I've enjoyed this so much more than just the traditional top set, back off set that everyone runs. like you said, it's that overall like localized fatigue a lot higher, so my quads feel way more fried.
Yeah.
But my whole like system fatigue, like I don't feel like I used to.
You can
I
jump
don't
on
leave
that
the
leg
gym.
extension and you're like,
Yeah, I don't leave the gym. I'm not getting in the car, and I'm like, I could literally pass out on this drive home now. I get in the car, and it's like, cool. I could probably like go on a phone call now and be sound. I won't be like
yeah.
absolutely monged. But
Have you guys seen any of
who else?
John Jewett's sort of programming and stuff? Because I know he was working with Josh Bridgman, but he was doing exactly that. He was programming. It was less exercises, more sets. He was staying away from failure, but he was programming like 4 sets on a leg curl, and it was like crazy volume it seemed. But obviously that approach works. But that's sort of the difference between sort of American and UK bodybuilding. UK bodybuilding is very sort of like hardcore, like JP, top set, back off. Whereas the
I think it's
Americans
an
have a different
amalgamation
style.
of both, though.
Yeah.
I think that training style is because the American training style, I think, is loads of high volume with low accuracy, right?
Mhm.
Whereas ours is super low volume with super mental accuracy and like an intent and so it's kind of like finding that balance between being able to get American style volume into a ethos where you are UK style accurate. And if you can do that, I think the higher volume stuff is going to benefit the localized fatigue, reduce the systemic. I feel like the increased accuracy is also going to increase your localized fatigue over systemic. If you can do both and get them to work alongside each other, you potentially got a much better setup than, you know, lifting like an idiot but for hundreds of sets versus lifting like a mutant and quite literally destroying your body with next to fuck all volume. Like,
I think it's a really nice balance because when you can train properly and you can actually take a set to failure, when you take that set to failure, what is the trade-off for that, say, extra rep? Like, what are you gaining muscularity compared to how much is that going to put you in the bin for your following movements? Like, what is the trade-off? Is it worth even getting that extra rep if it's taken away now from your other sets?
I'm definitely I'm definitely moving away from forced reps.
Yeah.
And like 50-50 reps as well. It's just, it's not worth it.
Ben Smith. So this thing that I've got Ben doing for his legs, I started getting, you know, Max, the other classic guy. I don't know if you know Max, but he needs to bring his back up, and he struggles connecting with his back. And we've pretty much done exactly the same training ideology that Ben is doing with his legs, but with Max on his back. And he's doing like 3 sets of a lat pull down, 3 sets of a row, 3 sets of a upper back row, maybe 3 sets of. It's just the same thing, 15, 15, 15. And he comes away from it and he's like, mate, I'm progressing all of my lifts. He's like, within the first couple of sets, because the higher rep ranges, like they're getting so much blood into my back. He's like, I feel everything. But he's like, I'm not fatiguing so much in the session that, like, do you ever get that thing when you're training your back and then you get halfway through and you just can't feel your lats anymore because you feel like they're fried, they're a bit gone?
Yeah.
Do you ever get that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, he doesn't get that now because he's not training to failure on every set either. And like, honestly, mate, within like 2 months, his entire back is it. Get a photo. Already, I can see it in his checking shots. Like, just he's doing the front double and like he's starting to grow, like create shape. And I think if you struggle connecting with certain body parts, that higher volume is a great way to develop connections, get blood into muscles you struggle with connecting. I think that, again, there's potentially like options there if you want to go that route, if you want to have a bit of fun and start maybe doing that kind of style. It doesn't have to be with every exercise. It doesn't have to be with every session. But we can definitely implement it within some exercises, within some sessions, and see how you feel.
Yeah, I think definitely my back work. Yeah.
Do you know what's nice as well? Like, it is a bit of variety. It's a change up. And when you change something, after doing something for so long, a little bit of change is nice. It's refreshing. It's been very nice for me in my leg training.
What body part do you struggle with the most, Ben? Is it your legs or like training wise or?
Yeah, I'd say it's my quads. Hamstrings, glutes, like fine. I think a lot of when I started, I whenever I did sort of any leg movements, my glutes definitely took over. So it's been shifting from trying to drive that weight onto my quads instead of my glutes. It's definitely the most difficult. I think it's not that I like really struggle with back training, but I think back training is very complicated anyway. And
100%.
I think it's definitely the hardest muscle to train to get right, because it's so easy to just shift weight when you're training your back instead of actually utilizing your back to move it. And then you've also got all these different parts of your back that you're trying to use. So trying to accurately target them is difficult without sort of letting other things take over that you don't want to. So they're definitely the hardest too. I've always got on like incredibly well on my chest. Like I can do any chest movement and connect with it. Like that is my sort of benefit, my lucky body part. But yeah, they're the main two.
Yeah. With back training, I'm literally. Sorry, Max, go on.
I was just saying, I'm more back. My legs are mint. I connect really well on my legs, and my back's typically very good as well. I'll have like a couple of days with my back. Usually it's like when I'm flat, or when I've not like drank enough water, or when I've not warmed up enough. But like 9 times out of 10, I usually have a fucking mint back session, and I never feel like I can't connect or like something's off. Whereas my chest, like it's a battle constantly to get it right, and this is why I don't. Like I did a post yesterday about like intuition and like finding what works for you. I often get into a cable fly. I set it up. It's identical to how it was the week before, and it feels just nothing like it. And so rather than just like accept the fact that this is identical and it just feels different for me, I've stopped doing that, and I've just started going, I'm going to set this up and fuck around with it until it feels right. Until whatever I'm doing feels good, I'm not going to start a working set. And that has been the difference for my chest coming up. It's because rather than just aimlessly going, I'm going to keep doing this thing which changes from week to week, I'm going to be a bit flexible on my approach and not deep whatever the logbook says because of it. It's very easy to make a setup change and then the numbers be off, and then you go, oh, I'm shit, I'm not progressing. But I'm like, I've come to terms with that, and my chest has definitely come up.
I watch your training highlights, Max, and like when you're on that like prime chest supported row, like it just looks, the plate loaded one just looks comfortable for you, and your back is just working and everything's clicking. Whereas if I was to get on that machine, I'm thinking of like 10 things. And it's interesting how different people sort of just naturally, like I'm the same with my chest band, like I can just literally get on any piece of chest kit in any gym and get a good stimulus. It's just, I know, but then with my back, it's like, if I need to think about my torso, I need to think about my bracing, I need to think about my elbow path, and it's like, if I'm not thinking about that, it's going to be a shit set. So it's annoying.
But again, like for me, a way around that for me with my chest is do a lot more working sets, is warm up. Sorry, not working sets, feeder sets, is warm up more. The problem with that is like it can be a bit frustrating knowing where the line is between warming up enough for everything I do thereafter to be productive versus warming up so much and pushing my warm-up sets and my feeder sets for so long that it starts actually taking away from my top set. And this is why I was saying like those higher rep ranges and that training style that Ben does is great for people with weaknesses, because you can almost do like 2 feeder sets and then go into a working set of 15. But know that you're leaving 4 or 5 in reserve. And then 2 minutes later, you're doing another set of 15. And like you maybe there's 1 or 2 in reserve. And like your chest is just blowing up as you're doing 50. You've done 30 reps. Do you know what I mean? At this point. And then you go into your last set, which is to failure. And at that point, it's just like, I can imagine whatever you're doing feels fucking mint.
Yeah. And you're building that skill as well with like the higher volume through the movement patterns, aren't you? Like if you're doing sort of 3 sets on something, you are going to get very skilled at it quite fast. So that's another thing. I'm interested in that actually.
Yeah, this is why that what you just mentioned, the skill acquisition. It's why when I've got like a client that's come to me that's newer to the gym, I am going to throw quite a lot of volume to them, just because they're gonna get that skill on that machine quicker. But also they don't really know how to take these sets to complete failure right now. So we can just throw loads of volume at you, and as soon as you start getting better at the training, I can see that through your training. Cool, then we can adjust it. But at the start, I think when you get in the gym, just do fucking loads.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think I would rather someone overdo it than underdo it.
The reality is they're not going to overdo it, though. I don't think. I don't think they know how to train hard enough unless
I
they're
don't know.
just
Did you
training.
train arms for the first time?
That is, yeah. To be fair, that is brutal.
You like going to college and you're trying to do work like
Fair.
Yeah, it's a very small proportion of people that will actually take it too far, and it's the people that are obsessive about it. They're the ones you've got to worry about, because they will take the fucking piss and not listen to their body. But most people just, they can't get to that point if they tried. They're just, until you've done it for years and years and years, I don't think you can get to that point. So
when just out of curiosity, when you two first started going to the gym, when you first started training, and obviously I'm assuming you had no training program, right? I mean, I'm speaking from my experience here, but I would go into the gym, I had no training program. I was going with someone else. They were telling me what I needed to do. And then as I started maybe deviating or going on my own, I literally was like just finding my way around the gym. I would like sit on machines or do exercises that I was watching other people in the gym doing. And I would try and repeat or copy them or try new stuff. And then I would quite literally sit at something and go, no, that's wank. I'm going to do something else. Right? And it sounds so fucking obvious, but what you'll have now is like people struggling to connect with muscles because they've been told that the seated, chest supported prime row is like one of the best exercises for whatever. And someone will sit down and do it and they'll go, because it's like universally accepted that this machine is great, right?
Yeah.
They then do it and it doesn't feel good, but they do it because everyone else says it's universally, like, they might not even just have the skill to be able to do it on that machine. It might be a great machine for them. They've just not developed the skill, but like they're still doing it because they think that's what they're supposed to do, rather than going, yeah, this feels like shit. Why am I doing this? And I feel like that's lost.
Yeah.
Big time.
Right, Ben, I'm aware of the time, and I want you and Max to talk about what you're talking about before we actually start recording. So you two get into that.
Ben, just tell about the conversation you had with me.
Yeah, so it's just like, how would I even summarize it? So I got in a bit of a space where something popped up on my memories, a photo from prep, and it got me looking back to sort of, well, it was actually sort of 4 to 6 weeks pre-prep, during prep, and I was looking at these photos and I was like, I was just so proud that I'd done that. But then I looked at sort of my photos now and I was like comparing the two and I was like, this is bad. And that's honestly what I was thinking. Sort of like, particularly in my upper body, sort of looking soft, and Max, you were saying like there's a film of water over like when I was posing over my upper, whilst my lowers remain quite crisp. But that's the struggle. It's sort of accepting that hormonally it's a bit of a car crash right now, and building muscle and looking full and looking big and feeling big. Like, I'm probably just not in a great spot for all those things. So it's just that sort of little bit of acceptance and realism that comes with natural bodybuilding, I think. But yeah, off the back of that, we've got a blood test. I'm getting a blood test, so it'll be interesting to see where we're at, and we can sort of look at solutions from there. But yeah,
I think the blood test is good. I said this to Ben about a month ago. Was it end of January? I said it about the blood test, and you were like, "Oh, I don't feel like there's a point if I feel like." And I think what the blood test does is it doesn't necessarily give you. It's like the same as like sharing your problems with people who aren't necessarily going to give you the answers to fix them, right? It's just the knowing. It's just the having the information there or shared, and that's sometimes what having a blood test does for you. Is like, you might get the blood test and it might tell you that everything is in a really shit place. Maybe not like cholesterol or liver or kidney function, but it might tell you that your hormones are a bit shit. And you can then kind of like make sense of aspects of where you are in this phase, and it alleviates just a little bit of worry. Like, and the thing is it doesn't matter what the result is, in fact, because we went through this in the voice note. It doesn't matter if his hormones are great, because if his hormones come back great, we'll go, well, that's recent, because they've obviously not always been great, because you've been telling me like the things around how you feel and think and how you are physiologically that align with your hormones being absolutely fucked. Whereas now your hormones are in a much better spot. on paper, right, things are, and that's a recent thing, things are only going to get better from here. If the bloods come back and they tell you the exact opposite, it's still positive news, because you can kind of make sense of why you are where you are. You'll go, okay, well, the reason why I don't feel like I look as good, or because I'm not as full here, or because maybe I am holding a bit of water, or because I have lost a bit of muscle and I haven't gained it back yet. The reason for that is because I don't have any hormones. And it's like, it eases that burden of not knowing.
Yeah, I think it's literally that. I want clarity on it, and then it's something that can be it can be tracked then in future. We can do one, I don't know, 5-6 months down the line, and see where I'm at.
I think the frustrating thing within bodybuilding a lot of the time is the not knowing, isn't it? Like, you take gear and you feel a certain way, and you're like, oh God, is this estrogen? Is this prolactin? Oh, is my test too high? Oh, have I not reacted to this compound very well? Or it's the same with volume. You're like, is it enough? Is it too much? Can I place more here? Like, is this food fucking me up? It's just always the not knowing, and you're trying to make sense of something without. You're trying to get answers to something you can't possibly have the answers to without more information.
Yeah, good. I think post show is difficult, isn't it? Like, mentally, it's very difficult. Physically, it's difficult because hunger's just brutal. It was for me anyway. But mentally, it's very difficult as well, because you're obviously putting on body fat, and you've been so focused on constantly getting leaner, constantly looking better, and then you're all of a sudden shifting, going the other way. You're not looking as lean. But I think that's why it's important to like focus on the actual goal. Your goal isn't to get lean anymore. It's to get healthy, to feel better, to get strong. That's what you should be focusing on. The look isn't as important. Obviously, the look's still important because you don't want it to go to complete shit. But you still, like, it's not the be all or end all. Like, the main thing is you feel better, your energy's better, you start getting healthy again, and your training performance improves. And that's what you really got to focus on when it comes to post show.
Yeah, it's like shifting, like you say, just like shifting the goalpost to sort of performance.
It's shifting that mindset. It's super hard.
It is very hard. I think it's extremely hard for natties as well. I think they have a harder time because, like, it's very easy for someone who's assisted to look forward to the next phase, knowing that there's immediate growth on the horizon, and like the trade-off for condition is literally new muscle each week, visibly new muscle. You can
Sounds exciting, that.
You can not organically. You can what's the opposite of organic? When you can engineer, like,
artificially.
Yeah, you can artificially. You can artificially create super physiological levels of fullness and like strength and completely change your look. And it's like, you kind of, for me, especially if you do manage your post show as an assistant guy, slightly, okay, like even if you manage it okay, I find it very, very, it's very easy for people to come out of those phases mentally, because what they're able to shift their focus onto is way more tangible. It's like you can almost like feel it as you change that direction. Whereas for natural guys, you're not, like, for you, it's been your training, hasn't it, Ben? But like, the reason why you're training and you measure your performance is for growth. Like, it's to be a better bodybuilder, right? Your performance is always based around the physique. And whilst performance, it's nice to know that performance, it correlates with the physique. Sometimes your performance can be improving and the physique doesn't to the same degree. And ultimately, you're always going to come back to the physique. So when you look at that and you'll go, this isn't as good as what it was 4 or 5 months ago, that's just going to make you feel like shit. And that's a really tough mental battle.
That's what's scaring me, actually.
As well.
Yeah, that's what you just said is what's scaring me. It's the fact that my training's progressing, but then it's perhaps not correlating in what I'm seeing in the mirror. So then I ask myself, well, if my training's progressing and am I just not growing well? Like, have I just lost the hormones or whatever internal process it is that is making me grow well? That's that, and then I'm shitting myself, like, will I ever get that back?
That's in your head, isn't it? That's why you got to be That's where you got to be very objective.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, you've got you got to really focus on the data at this point, and the data is saying, like, training's going up. Cool. I'm not gonna stress it from it. But it's very difficult with natural bodybuilding because when you do a prep, you put your health in a pretty shit situation, don't you? So off like the back of that, you've got to recover, and spending that time recovering is almost going to set you back even further.
The thing is, mate, as well, you've got to remember, there's just two aspects of what you've just said there, right? Is the amount of muscle you have is directly linked to what your body is capable of building or creating or maintaining or building. Well, that's directly impacted by your hormones, right? If your test is half now what it is normally, it doesn't matter how strong you're getting or how good your performance is on a neurological basis. On a physiological basis, your body won't follow suit because it hasn't got the tools to be able to make that happen. And your training quite literally could stay the same now for the next 6 to 12 months and not make any progress. But just because your hormones start going up, you'll get bigger.
I need hormones, man. We need.
Well, that's kind of like the premise. This is why a lot of guys, the progress they don't really make loads of progress in the gym. They don't get really, really strong. And we spoke about this before, is like strength isn't the be all and end all of being a good bodybuilder, right? It's stimulation. And we don't know the impact that hormones might have on neurological stimulation or motor unit recruitment. Like I don't personally know the correlation or impact of that, or even if we do know if there is one, but there probably is. So like externally, you could be stronger, but like internally, what you're doing to stimulate muscle is far less. Yeah. And then also your body can't like accommodate growth alongside that either. Whereas someone total opposite who's got loads of fucking hormones and loads of drugs in the system, it might help them connect better with muscles. They might get a little bit stronger, but like stimulate the muscle a lot more and then fucking blow up because the body's like, it just can't help putting muscle on at that point. I think there was a study somewhere where someone took or a group of people took 500 or 600 milligrams of testosterone. And like one group continued doing exactly what they were doing. The other group did no training and pretty much sat on their arse for like 6 to 8 weeks. And then another group completely changed their training routine or regime like a bodybuilder. And like every single group grew muscle. Every single group like exponentially blew up. One group literally didn't do it, like actively avoided doing anything. And they're still growing. So like your body will just adapt for having more hormones in your body anyway.
Yeah, have you seen that? Oh, I don't know what he's called on socials or whatever, but there's a guy, I think in America, and he has some sort of condition where he could only train his arms. Like, so the only work he's ever done is on his arms. I know, weird, like, listen. But he went on PEDs and like his whole physique has grown. Like his legs, his chest, everything's grown. Yet all he trains is his arms.
I want to know what condition this is.
Pretty sure it was just his arms. Mental.
What condition? What do you mean that he's got a condition?
I need to find it. After this podcast, I'll find it and send it to you.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry, I can't.
I'm 99% sure it was just he could only train his arms. It's weird.
Fair. Yeah, I mean,
but he went on to PEDs and his whole physique grew.
Because I think something about like it's the same reason why they say when you get an injury on one side, train the other side, don't they? They said don't avoid training your good side because you've got a weak side. They say continue training your good side because it helps you maintain tissue on the weak side. Weirdly, which then kind of like destroys the theory of like doing more on one side to make uneven parts less uneven. Because it's like, well, if that's the case, surely training the stronger side would also help the uneven side grow as well. I don't know. It's 10:10, Ben.
Yeah, I'm going to hop off.
10.
Right. Yeah, enjoy, lads. Honestly, mate, that conversation, as much as it's like, it's reassuring that like you guys think like this isn't something I need to deep. The more you're talking about like the power of hormones there, like fuck me, I need some hormones. Like that's my priority. So
yeah, and again, the only way we can, I think, is address that is get bloods, like understand exactly what's going on. But
yeah, what's good about getting your bloods is if they come back and they're not as bad as you think. That's reassurance in your head that all right, it's not that. So we are pretty good. Like,
What's the
So
range for test? What's the natural?
Up
Do you
to
know what the
30.
range? Up to
Yeah,
30.
up to
I'd be
30.
very surprised if
Yeah,
mine's more than like 5.
I think yours. I think it's like the lowest is 9, the natural range is 9, and the
Right.
top end is 30. Obviously, it does go above and below that. Like Tom Stockton's is like 32 or something, which is mad, and he's
The
tested
men's
now.
physique guy.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to see.
But yeah, if it comes back below 15, I think. I mean, you're a young kid, mate. It should definitely be plus 20. I mean, that's a bit of a blanket statement, but I've not seen many people be below 20 under the age of 30.
I think you're in for a bit of a crash. What was Ruben's post show?
Honestly, like
Yeah.
zero
He had nothing,
zero
didn't he?
teast and zero estrogen.
Literally
It
had
was like literally none of either. They
Basically
barely
just
picked it
been
up in the bloods.
sterilised.
Yeah.
I'm using Ruben as a like
3 months.
it could be worse situation. So yeah, we'll see. But I'll get that done, and
Ruben progressively got smaller and softer for about 3 months.
that's
Despite
a
being
scary
militant.
place to be. Yeah.
Yeah, he was militant, mate, and he was operating really, really well, and he was literally getting smaller and softer every week for about 3 months until he went on cycle.
Demoralising.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty shit.
Right, lads.
Right, mate.
I'll be off.
I'll let you go because I know you need to shoot off.
Catch you a bit, Ben.
What we're saying, Ben? Are we going to continue this? Have we got anything else to go over, or should we call it there? So that's 45 minutes.
Yeah, we can call it there if you want me.
Unless you've got something to go over.
Nah, not really. Just I'm going to take another rest day today. I know we said we're like splitting this deload up a bit, but I trained Monday, Tuesday. I trained, and then I took Wednesday, Thursday off. I went back to the gym Friday. That was a good session. Went to the gym yesterday. It was fucking wank.
What was yesterday's session?
Posterior.
Heavy session. What was the session before that? Was Fridays?
That was just push. So that was decent. But then yesterday, like that posterior session, it's annoying because I really want to train. Like I really want to go and train. But when I got into the gym after about midway through, I was just like, I'm fucked. Like I'm just battered. Like, so yeah, I'm going to take another rest today, and we'll just see where we're at.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, mate. I mean, again, that intuition, isn't it? I think the only reason why I like to spread it out with you is just because in the past and for myself, 5 days on the bounce is.
Mate, I couldn't do 5 days off. Do you know what? If I took the full 5 days off, it would not only like it would be a killer in terms of like what am I doing myself, but also like getting straight back into that like routine would probably like
really
make me
difficult.
feel. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? After you take an extended period of time off.
I think you start losing the structure in your routine as the days go on, don't you?
So I'll take today off and see what I'm like tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
Sick. All right, mate. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Is the podcast still rolling? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Right, guys. Okay, we'll call it there. I don't think we've got anything else to touch on for this podcast. So thank you for tuning in and watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next one. Much love.
Yep.
In a bit.